Hello, welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Zonde with your technology and social media news. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if online platforms have helped you increase your love for African music. This, as we do know that Amapiano is often credited to TikTok in its fast rise across the world, and Spotify has created a microsite for Afrobeats. Now that's music from West Africa. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Here's what's coming up in this particular episode. We find out about a new academy for online and cybersecurity skills at the University of Venda. We go to Mthatha, where we'll find out about a hackathon that took place there. In our conversation, we chat about a new social networking platform. There have been various cybersecurity concerns here in South Africa, and a new academy at the University of Venda is hoping to help with skills that can fight all of this. Producer Sandile Hlangane was there.
In recent years, cyber threats in South Africa have increased dramatically. Unfortunately, there aren't enough experts to help prevent the ever-increasing threats. The University of Venda says it is launching a cybersecurity academy to help prevent future attacks on South Africa's critical infrastructure before they occur.
As the world is going now, a new threat is there for both businesses and institutions. And young people have not really been exposed to cybersecurity. And the reason why we are excited about this program is because it offers new opportunities to young people in another industry.
The academy will foster conscious-based learning, not only focusing on technical awareness and education, but also creating social awareness of cyber threats.
This is the first cohort of students in this 2023 year, and the course is it's a 6 months training program where we are fortunate enough that TechNote IT has donated some laptops for the students, because we know the students around our areas are from previously disadvantaged communities. So as we know that within the digital space, there's, it's rapidly increasing. There's a lot of cyber attacks going on. And if we start capacitating students and postgraduate students at this level, then by the time they're employed or by the time they've started their companies, they would have been well informed.
Participants say the program will help them gain valuable cyber, professional, and life skills to prepare them for work.
The first thing is the opportunity. I'll be able to gain more knowledge, experience the necessary cyber skills, and it will also help me to navigate in my career as an business information systems graduate.
The program will help me acquire more skills in the cyber security industry. It will also help us or me in order to fight cyber crimes, which is a big problem, cyber crime in our country at the moment.
Univen partnered with TechNote Information Technology and Women in Tech South Africa.
We're looking on bridging the gap, because we hear that there's scarce skills, with the same token there's unemployment. And how do we bridge the gap and create and prepare our young people to seize the opportunity on the other side of these scarce skills? So we provide cyber training courses that is QCTO accredited and also has a global certification. And the collaboration, I won an award with Women in Tech, and this is when I started to build a relationship with Walani. And on our conversation, because she's here from Venda, she became very excited and say, please go and launch this initiative in Venda.
Our role as Women in Tech was actually to bring this collaboration, and we collaborated initially with TechNote IT. And myself personally, having grown up in Venda in Limpopo, I felt it was quite important to actually bring this back to where I come from, because we've got a lot of graduates who are actually not finding employment, and through the cybersecurity skill, they can actually be assisted to actually secure employment.
During the program, participants will have access to workshops and guest lectures from industry representatives, as well as exposure to companies for job shadowing and internship opportunities.
The nice thing is that once they are done with the program, we definitely would be communicating with the external companies and ensure that they do get placed. So for the students to be placed once they've graduated, going through this program will ensure that we already have the communications with the outside companies, so they will definitely get placed. After going through the This Is Me program, it means they would definitely be ready for the workplace. And if they decide to start their own companies, so definitely that is where the incubation falls. So they will then be incubated within the Center for Entrepreneurship.
A career in cybersecurity will provide the graduates with high in-demand skills and an opportunity to work in multiple industries.
One of the ways to help train young people with new skills that can help in the future of work and the future of solving problems is through hackathons. One such hackathon was organized by Geek Culture in Mthatha.
As is the case with many areas across South Africa, Mthatha is still lagging behind in digital emancipation and being creators of digital innovation. The program is an intervention created to ensure that our youth are equipped with skills to not only participate but to actually thrive within the fast-growing digital world, and to really place them at the forefront of creating socially relevant and impactful solutions for their communities.
We have partnered with St. John's College, where we are targeting the learners of the school and surrounding schools as well in driving this culture of innovation. Also partnering with Geek Culture, who are famously known for their culture of driving technology amongst the youth of this country.
We bridge the gap where students don't have computers and laptops and laboratories in the schools. So we've come up with the app where children can use their phones. That's why we call it Unplugged. So children in rural areas can continue learning how to code without computers and without laptops.
We're basically teaching students about what data is and understanding that data is all around us. And then just being able to transform that data into information and being able to, extract insights from it, and just being able to visualize it and explain what's happening on it so that they can be, responsible citizens. And know what contributions they can make in the community.
The program is currently being replicated in Limpopo through the Geek Culture Limpopo developer ecosystem. So far, 6 schools in Capricorn and the Waterberg district have already gone through the program, and 1 school in Guyana. So we're very excited and looking forward to taking this program to many other provinces.
The role of the CPSI in partnership then with Geek Culture then is to ensure that the youth of this country are able to actually articulate what the 4th Industrial Revolution is all about, and how then they could actually practicalize it, and we take them through all the different segments.
They code using tokens, and then there's an app on the phone where the sensor will pick up if the code they've done with the token is actually correct to instruct something to move from one point to the other. So that's what we are doing, and that's why we are here at St. John's today. They are the ones that only want the children to benefit more, whether they've got laboratories or not. Children must know the tangible impact, and also the one where it's on the screens.
So far it's going really well. Students are very excited about their presentations and playing around with the data and understanding what the data is saying, and choosing topics and sectors that they're really interested in. So far it's going well. It's fun.
We really like to commend our partners, the Center for Public Service Innovation, Mthatha High and St. John's College, for really shimmering light into this program and placing the best foot forward into ensuring that our youth become more producers than they are consumers.
SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about Threads. That's a new social media networking platform. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, that is Meta, launched Threads, a social media networking platform that is set to rival Twitter on Thursday. Reports say about 30 million people signed up to use Threads on its first day of launch. Now, what you need to do in order for you to sign up is an Instagram account, but you can open a Threads account as well. And there are reports which say it should have just been called Tweets because it works pretty much in a similar fashion to Twitter. Now, we do know that a lot of people have been disgruntled with Twitter in the last couple of months since billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk took over, because there have been a few changes that have happened, including people losing their verification badges and the manner in which conversations take place and how many people can see posts or how many posts that as an individual you can see. In order to analyze all of this with us is a Professor Shepherd Mpofu. He is with the University of South Africa, that is UNISA. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Prof. Maybe if we start by looking at whether Threads can work in a similar fashion in order to foster public discourse in the way that Twitter did, especially in the beginning stages. As we do know about the Arab Spring, for example, Fees Must Fall in South Africa, this flag in Zimbabwe, and others all over the world.
I think the most important thing is not necessarily about the platform itself, whether it will allow discourse or not. But the most important thing is about how the users are going to use and engage with the platform. And when Twitter started, it definitely was not a discourse platform, but people and users that were actually engaging on the platform made it a discourse platform. So what we have now is that Threads is a platform and there's a potential, if used wisely or if appropriated wisely, Twitter was, by ordinary people to be indeed a platform that allows for discourse. And given that it comes from the Meta family or the Meta group, we are likely going to have it probably like Facebook, allowing certain ways of engaging and communicating. And we know that Facebook has certain community standards that it adheres to and actually punishes some people who do not adhere to those community standards. For instance, the use of violent language, child pornography and the like. So in terms of political discourse and other socio-economic and political issues, Threads promises to be a platform for those kinds of conversations, engagements, and discourses.
The new owner of Twitter had said that he's worried about profits and he felt that Twitter could make a lot more money. Do you think that could be the issue on Threads as well, and perhaps other social networking platforms, that there could be an issue of profits versus how much people can say and what people can say on social networking sites?
The platforms, just like any other media machine, really, they to make a profit. They are not charitable organizations. So we may understand them from that particular perspective, but at the same time, we need to be aware of how platforms make their money. Facebook, for instance, now is not making people subscribe or pay certain fees, as is the case with Twitter. So for Elon Musk, one might think that since he invested so much into the Twitter project, and when he invested, he definitely sort of drove away some advertisers and drove away some Twitter users, to an extent that now he needs to recover the monies that he has spent on he has to recoup his investment on the company.
Now, there were other platforms that were said to have the ability to take over Twitter. Blue Sky is one example, which was endorsed by Jack Dorsey, who was one of the founders of Twitter, but it didn't happen. What do you think would be different with Threads?
The other platforms might have come during some periods of discontentment, as it were. But I think now it's more heightened, given that when Elon Musk started, he took away the blue tick and made people subscribe, and now he's limiting the number of tweets people can view and can post unless and until they subscribe. So other platforms are coming through, or Threads especially is coming through at that particular point where people do not want to be limited in terms of their freedoms of expressions and engagement to a certain number of tweets, or being forced to subscribe in order to engage. And again, given that these platforms use people's data that people volunteer to make money, so it's sort of a double-edged sword that sort of attacks the people when or attacks the users of the, especially Twitter platform, where they have to subscribe and then their data has to be monetized by the platform through selling it to advertisers and the like.
Now, Meta already owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. With Threads coming on board, do you think that there could be perhaps a threat of too much data owned by the same organization?
Of course, there's a problem. When I created my Threads account, it actually used my Instagram account. And in a way, there's that sort of secular ownership of my data.
And lastly, aren't there too many social media networking platforms already? Is there space for Threads?
There is definitely a large assortment of social networking sites. But again, we have to look at the profiles of people that go into those particular sites. For instance, who is on TikTok and what kind of conversations is it meant for, and what type of engagements are there?
All right. Thank you very much. That is Professor Shepherd Mpofu. He is with the University of South Africa. That is UNISA. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. On email. Stay with us. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. On email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
In England, developers of a drone called the Fire Drone say it can fly into a fire and can help identify anyone trapped in a burning building or a wildfire.
Well, the problem is really the data during forest fires or fires in buildings or in industrial sites. And one example is the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017 that killed at least 72 people. And the problem at that time was that the technology was really not there of having drones that would be able to fly inside of the tower and look for survivors, get situational awareness inside of the disaster zone. And at that time, actually, I used to live close by to the tower, and I used to drive by when going to work in London. And it was really shocking to see this event. And people used to ask me whether I have a drone that can fly inside, and I didn't have that. And since then, we have been developing this fire drone, as we call it, which is a drone that can fly inside of hot environments and also cold environments. And like this, get the data faster, cheaper, and with less risk compared to other manual methods.
Current drones developed for firefighting are unable to fly much closer lest their frames melt and their electronics fail. Moving to Ukraine, in a basement in downtown Kyiv, crowds of engineers and innovators met senior military officials to brainstorm ways to better neutralize the cheap Russian suicide drones that still devastate Ukrainian cities. This is a rare up-close glimpse into Ukraine's technology arms race with Russia.
Да, ну, війна сьогодні технологічна. Кожного дня відбуваються зміни в технологіях і на полі бою. З'являються нові БПЛА, якісь інновації в застосуванні БПЛА в комплектуючих.
Ukraine launched a crowdfunding project last year aimed at creating an army of drones that has grown into a state program covering everything from production of unscrewed aerial vehicles to the training of drone pilots.
With Spotify creating a microsite for Afrobeats and with Amapiano always being credited to TikTok in its rise. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you think social media, networking sites and other online platforms have helped you in your quest to increasing your love of African music. All right, and that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network now. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. newsnetwork@sabc.co.za. An email from me, Spumele Lezondi, and the rest of the network team. Bye-bye.